These two slept on the couch last night together. Oh, she's like, wait, what's going on? Pharaoh. Check it out. Finally could afford a new pair of shoes. Nike Air Max Torch 3. 80 bucks. Discount. What? $54.39. Nike outlet store yesterday. Chickens have been released. Hey. And it's time to get in old Vicky and hit the road. Got 3 gigs today, plus earnings. I'll share with you what I made today, as well as sharing with you how much I made in April of 2022 as a full-time gig worker. So, the first one today, heading out to the Mill Creek area, and I'm installing a like a Nest thermostat, which is a thermostat that syncs up with your smartphone, and you can control the heat with your phone, which is pretty cool. So I'll be installing one of those, and then after that, putting up a ceiling fan, or I'm removing a ceiling fan, putting up a new ceiling fan, or a light fixture. I don't remember. I'll have to look into that. But that's another electrical gig. At almost $60 an hour. I dropped my rates a little bit because I was so high that I wasn't getting jobs. So I dropped it down to $58 an hour. And now I'm getting pretty consistent work again, at least for my light electrical stuff. Last task of the day is mounting. I'm going to be mounting a huge mirror over... Oh, where's my coffee? What did I do with my coffee? Ah! That went well. Pretty easy. It was a little more complicated than most for new construction. They had like a boiler furnace. It's like a little boiler about that big that ran the furnace. So just wired it up. I had to open up the furnace itself and add some additional wiring, but I still finished the whole task in about an hour. It was like an hour on the nose when I walked out of there. So easy. They gave me a 5-star review, so everything must be working properly. And because they, it's one of those things you have to set it up with your Wi-Fi and your smartphone and download the app and all that. So I, basically wired it up and then said, you take it from here, right? I don't install apps on people's phones or set up their Wi-Fi and stuff like that. I just wire up the device, and it wired up properly, and it was all set. So no worries, easy peasy. On to the next one. Springtime, rainy springtime in the University District. I also told the client that I'd finished that job earlier than normal, right? And said, hey, because I booked these just in case, and then I try and squish them together if I can. So I called the client and said, hey, I finished this job like early. Can I show up now? And not always, but usually people are like, yeah, sure. So I'm showing up about a half hour early for this one, so my day can progress without too much downtime. Now there's a Bronco right there. That's a real Bronco. That one doesn't have a 2.7 liter engine, I'll bet. I get a call from my first task today while I'm on my second task, and it turns out I have to go back because his furnace isn't working. Even though before I left, the Ego B or whatever it's called, it said it was working. It said, yeah, I mean, I've done a bunch of these Nest smart devices, but I've never done one of these. This one was a little more complicated, but yeah, it gave me a false positive. Fat Cat Records, even though he's not open, he still lets me use the bathroom. He knows me. When I did Uber and Lyft, I'm like, he goes, Russ, I'm not open yet. I'm like, I just need to use the bathroom really bad. Like, no one will let you use the bathroom around here. I was at the client's house. I could have used the bathroom there. But, you know, it's always after you leave the client's house where it's like, oh, I have to use the bathroom now. Great. So, the Ecobee, yes. Next time I install one of these, I'm just going to call tech support because obviously their instruction manual doesn't work. I followed everything in the instruction manual, and for some reason I just rewired it. I took off this adapter thing because the place was built in 2014 or something, so his original device was like 3 wires, you know, that controlled the whole thing, and then this thing had like 5 wires, so I had to add 2 more wires into the furnace, and then it had this adapter thing. That the adapter thing didn't work, so I just used whatever wires were available and hooked it into the new Ecobee, and then yeah, it worked finally. So before I left the house, I made sure feel the vent. Yeah, the heat's on, it's kicked on, so we call that one good. Meanwhile, coming up on the next task, get this level. But yeah, I had to go all the way from Seattle back up to Linwood, you know, border of Everett, and then back to Bellevue. But the guy was really nice. Like, he gave me an extra $20. He gave me $20 of cash. And I'm like, you know, he hands me $20. I'm like, dude, you don't have to do that. Like, if the thing's not working, I want to make sure you're happy and your heat comes on, you know. You don't have to give me an extra $20. But he says, no, I insist, you know. And I'm like, okay. So I went and got a crisp meat burrito at the Taco Time. That's what I did for lunch. It went well, and I'm done for the day. A little after 5 o'clock. I started at 10:30. That last job I put up, hung up a bunch of pictures, put up a big mirror, and it's like, make sure you get this level, all right? But I did it. I just measured it out, and you know, I measured in for the discrepancy, as we say. Hung up about 5 or 6 pieces of artwork. Easy peasy. $225 for, I don't know, what, 7 hours of work, not including lunch, hanging out. I stopped at the park and ride and edited some video that you're watching. All right, so stopped at the store, saw this sweet little charger, and pulling into Homeward Bound, back at the Shaw Estate. Here's my earnings. That is what I made in April. So, earnings and tips. And then I needed another, it's about 200. Actually, no, it was more than that. So, it was about 200, actually about $250 worth of off the grid stuff. Added on to that number. So yeah, it's a pretty profitable month. This is I like this job. How many hours did I work? 80. You know, add another 10 hours to that for commuting back and forth, you know. And some of this I don't even count as work. Like, you know, in between stops, I go to the record store or hang out or go for a walk. The Rose Garden, I did that last week. Sit and edit videos, you know, that kind of thing. I like this job. I like it a lot better. I like my life better now. I do. Even though I don't regret. No regrets, man. I'm glad I worked at Ford. I'm glad I went through that experience. I'm glad the first shop I worked at, you know, I learned so much. I learned how to, you know, the whole flat rate thing is helping me with Taskrabbit, and I'm learning how to, like, hey, this is how long it takes to do things. This is how much I need to bill. This is how much I need to tell the customer it's going to take to do a thing. You know, so No regrets. Thanks for watching. This is my life now. It's pretty cool. Hang out at the rose garden for a while. In between jobs. Hey, buddy.